Welcome back. It's time for Media Watch France on France 24, our look at the top stories in the French press and online media. Florence Villeminot joins me with all the latest. Good evening.
Hey, Lorna. How you doing?
Good. So we start with the presidential election. The campaign is in full swing. There are just months to go to the vote here in France. Politicians and media today are all abuzz over alleged insults by the socialist candidate François Hollande against Nicolas Sarkozy.
That's right, Lana. Earlier you said that the gloves are coming off, and that's exactly what it appears to be in France. As you said, Hollande allegedly called Sarkozy a nasty piece of work. Now, that's according to Le Parisien, a French daily here. According to Le Parisien, François Hollande was having lunch with journalists, and it was a very kind of off-the-record lunch. And at one point, he started imitating Nicolas Sarkozy, and he said, I'm a failed president, I'm a sale mec, so that's what you can translate as a nasty guy, but re-elect me because given these trying times, I'm the only capable person to run the country. So he was imitating Sarkozy. He didn't directly call him a nasty guy. But as you can imagine, this immediately sparked outrage within the UMP party. A lot of Sarkozy's allies were calling on François Hollande for a public apology. We're going to take a look at some of the reactions on Twitter here by Guillaume Pelletier, who's part of the ruling UMP party. He's part of one of the UMP's groups called Riposte, which you could say a counterattack. Yes. And he says Hollande has to explain himself on this insult. Now, I think one of the best reactions comes from Interior Minister Brice Hortefeux. Now, he was making comments on a blog for Le Monde, and he said that he seemed thrilled by this slip-up, this alleged insult. He said that François made a big mistake, and if we play our cards right, we can blow this out of proportion. So you've got to love his honesty there. He says that this is a very difficult trap that François Hollande has gotten himself into because no matter what he does, he's going to be criticized. And according to Brice Hortefeux, he says he's an expert at because he often puts his foot in his mouth, so he knows what he's talking about.
I think one thing candidates should know by now after the past few years is that nothing is off the record.
Absolutely.
There are conflicting accounts, though, over whether that really happened, whether that account is
Absolutely.
true.
There are conflicting accounts as to exactly, what happened, what context all this was in. A lot of people within the Socialist Party are saying that the ruling UMP is trying to manipulate public opinion, and they remind people that Nicolas Sarkozy isn't a choir boy himself. Back in 2008, he was caught on tape this time, so not off the record, on the record, insulting a man within a crowd, calling him a jerk. He said, "Casse-toi, pauvre con," which has become kind of a catchphrase here in France.
It made a lot of noise.
Absolutely. And François Hollande, he says that he was completely taken out of context, and he said that he won't let himself be jerked around by the right. Now, we're going to take a listen to a comment he made this afternoon.
Ça suffit.
Enough is enough. I can no longer accept this endless string of controversies the UMP is stirring. Today they manipulated what I said. I never cross the line into rudeness. I leave that to others.
Je laisse ça à d'autres.
All right, so he stood up for himself. We're staying with the presidential campaign and François Hollande. Another story that caused a bit of an uproar was that François Hollande was really front and center in left-wing daily Libération yesterday, all over the front page.
Absolutely. Poor François. He just seems to be making the buzz all over the place. Yeah, scandal after scandal. Now, this was, as you said, the controversial front page on Libération yesterday, so the left-leaning daily. It was pretty much basically an open letter by François Hollande, where he didn't outline his campaign program, but it was kind of his dreams, what he wants for France. And there was a key phrase that was highlighted on the cover that says, "Le changement, c'est maintenant." Change is now. And as you can imagine, a lot of people reacted to this pretty controversial front page. Le Nouvel Observateur magazine here kind of pulled together the best reactions. Now, Nadine Morano, who's the Minister of Training, she tweeted 12 times on this cover. Now, she's drawn some criticism recently for being kind of a prolific tweeter, maybe a little bit of mockery for that.
It's good fodder for us journalists.
Absolutely. She's a good one to follow. She says that change is an overused slogan. Now, there was a reaction to this tweet by François Hollande's girlfriend, Valérie Trierweiler, who publicly stopped following Morano, which is the ultimate insult on Twitter. And there was some really it's been kind of like internet, back and forth, the UMP one-upped the socialist candidate by buying the domain name Le Changement c'est maintenant, so change is now, kind of stealing his slogan. And when you click on it, here I'll show you, when you click on it, it says Le reniement c'est maintenant. So instead of change is now, it says denial is now. Now, there was Marine Le Pen. That's not it. Marine Le Pen absolutely wanted in on this, and she wondered, when is she going to get her front page on Libération to explain her campaign?
So a series of low blows. It's a fairly negative campaign so far.
We'll have to see how it plays out, but it's exciting.
Thanks very much for being with us, Florence Villeminot. That was Media Watch on France 24. Up next is Web News, and the video of the day shows a monkey who's developed some very advanced cooking skills. You'll see that in a moment. First, we start with some hard news. The US presidential campaign is also taking place on the web. Here are some of their reactions after the Iowa caucus.